What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link that also asked me to put it up, so I put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video is entitled Society is Changing the Narrative on Single Moms. I was in a grocery store yesterday and 2 days ago. And I look over, in the magazine section, and it had this thing with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. And it's like, why Angelina is torturing Brad using the kids. And I thought about it at that point. I was like, you know what? I talked about it before. I even put it in my book that society was going to do this. And this, to have it on the front page of the magazines in your in the grocery aisle, that's something that I would have never seen. Usually that was an aisle where you have, this is the way to get a man, and Red Book and Cosmopolitan and Men Are Like This. But now you see articles like that. And that's not the first time I've seen that. You get what I'm saying? And with Charlize Theron with the boy in the dress, and with the blonde hair, and Charlize Theron, what is she doing to her son? And I was thinking about it because I'm thinking to myself, they're changing the narrative on the single moms because society has been impacted negatively by it, And I thought about that also with the Alicia Keys thing. She's not a single mom, but this idea that I'm gonna just do something dead wrong and I'm gonna rant about it and say society is the problem. It's like, no, you the problem. And the reason why I say society is changing the narrative because what I see more and more and more, and I've been seeing it for years. Same thing with the mother that was on social media, and social media has a lot to do with this also, where you're starting to see these mothers put themselves out on social media. You had the one stumping the daughter, the one prior to that beating the son at the school, and getting all in his grill like that. When you see divorce court and paternity court, you starting to see more and more of the woman being the villain, the single mom being the villain in the story, like doing things that are unforgivable or dead wrong, And it used to be, mother knows best and mom's always right, but now it's not like that anymore. And the reason I'm saying society is changing the narrative because I think society is tired of bad parenting because they would say, the mother is the first teacher of the child. And when you're saying that the mother is the first teacher of the child, we're seeing the fruits of that bears, and it's not good. Even Ayanna Van Zant, it used to be if you throw a dad, my dad was alive and he did it. My dad was dead. My dad left when I was an embryo, but it's his fault. Now you're starting to see, okay, mom was there every day, and these are the things that was happening when mom was there every day, right? So society is changing the narrative. Like, we can't just keep blaming these men for this, even though, take feminism to a degree out of it, because when you're starting to see the things that are being done, it's like, no. When I talked about and she's Gabrielle Union, she's not single either. When she took her stepson to the Pride Parade, but then she's making sure her daughter is real girly. That's very interesting. You get what I'm saying? That's a problem. When the movie Precious came out, when they stamped that movie to be a Oscar award worthy role, that was a slight against the mothers. And the reason I brought up Angelina Jolie and Charlize Theron, they're both white women in America, and they're so if white women get put on blast for this, white celebrity women at that, you sisters, y'all finna catch the brunt of this. Y'all finna catch this one. That's what's finna happen. They finna turn this all on y'all. Dead ass serious. And there's no running from that. And I'm gonna cause see the thing with the Brad Pitt situation, she's using those kids against that man, and most of those kids are adopted. So now it looks like, okay, this is just a female mother tactic. These kids ain't even her biological kids, and she pulling this. Same thing with Charlize Theron. Not even her kids, she's pulling this, right? So this is feminizing kids, this using kids as pawns. It's put out on Front Street by the mainstream media now. Now social media, that's a whole nother thing. That's what I was talking about earlier. Then we got to talk about this part where the things that have been going on in the background of this, like the CDC thing where black men are the most involved fathers, that goes against the narrative. The social media stories of all the good things these fathers have done, and these things that these fathers have went through dealing with these mothers of these children. The Halle Berry story recently coming back out. Janet Jackson getting married, then getting divorced, and now being a single mom at like 50 years old. That type of stuff keeps coming into play, right? And I know you shouldn't use celebrities, but the reason I'm using celebrities is because what winds up happening is people, they emulate these celebrities. The thing about like Solange is now a single mom, right? I'm fighting with Jay-Z in the elevator because he shouldn't be cheating on my sister, but I'm cheating on my husband. But this is a problem. The mommy knows best and the mother knows right, and the over sexualization of a lot of these mothers when they become single or when they're single moms, they're putting themselves out there. That's been on the low for decades, but now because of social media and the internet, these mommies out there more suggestive, more putting themselves out on front streets, all the twerking on the camera next to the child, all the turn pictures with your face in your butt, but you a mom, and all the pictures, now your friends, the term MILF is really built for, that's a single mother term, right? So society is changing. These mothers out here trying to do too much. They're doing too much. That becomes the narrative. The housewife shows, the basketball wife type shows, the vast majority of those women are single mothers, and how they're conducting themselves in spite of the fact that they've quote unquote got the bag from another man, that says something. The fact that a lot of these women keep trying to get married over and over again, but they still not making themselves wife material because they, always getting in drama, arguing and fighting, and not to mention just that, the actual married women that were functional, that came on those shows, they didn't last long. They left on their own, about maybe even weeks or half a season or just did one season. Like, I'm not being around all of this. Because those are the women who actually cared. They were functional women. They weren't dysfunctional women. So society is changing the narrative on single moms because that's part of the single mother thing. The love and hip hop type of thing. You get what I'm saying? The excusing bad behavior is starting to become inexcusable because even with these school shootings, a lot of times I think that's looked at as a single mother situation because when they do it with when these other groups do it, they'll say that the parents were divorced, i.e., mom was raising the kid alone, so the mom's a single mom. So when you see it in the other communities, it's not working out well because the vast majority of these kids, either they come from divorced homes where they're living with their single mom, or a few times dad's dead, or dad's remarried and with another woman kind of type of thing, and mom is single. It's changing the narrative, and this lack of accountability and lack of taking responsibility spilled down into the kids, and now the kids are all over the place. So society is kind of getting sick of it. The courts still favor mothers, but even the courts are sick of it because the courts used to just take women's words. This is why now they got all these apps, all this video footage, all these recorded conversations. You know what I'm saying? Now you can go back numerous times. These women are not necessarily starting to lose custody, but they're starting to lose money. And I think at some point, the state's going to stop funding this. And they're going to make these women fund themselves because of, paternity fraud and just this, that, and the third. So all of these things that keep happening, it's changed the narrative. Like, moms aren't so innocent. Moms aren't the backbone of the community anymore. You know, the mothers that have been, you know, knowing that their kids were in criminal activity or pushing their kids to criminal activity, pushing their kids onto criminal activity was a problem. Also, remember when they had the Detroit 300? It was single mothers who broke that up. The brothers trying to clean up the community, and single mothers didn't want that to happen. So things like this it's changing society's narrative on the single mother, and it's not going to end well for the mothers. I'm just going to be honest. So, you know, as the society changes and the economics changes, single motherhood might be a scarlet letter. But that's my thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.